Day when we were driving home from church up 79, got in front of the Hampton Inn there, and I saw one of them kind of parked in the grass, you know, by where you would turn in to go into the Hampton Inn. So then I looked kind of back over, and there were a number of these cars parked in the parking lot. Well, as it turns out, many of these individuals have rented rooms at the Hampton Inn all week. And this organization, this group, I saw them heading out this morning as I was coming into work. Like one day, maybe they're driving out to Cambridge or Coshocton or whatever, and then they come back to Heath. The next day, they're driving out to, Hocking Hills or whatever, and then they come back to Heath. So every day, like Heath is like the hub, and the spokes go in different places, but every night they're coming back to the hub. And so they had a dinner at the Shai house, and really great group of people. And Carol Tress from the Convention and Visitors Bureau was there to welcome them to Licking County. Yesterday they went up to Velvet Ice Cream. I think they took a look at the newer earthworks. And then I just basically welcomed them to Heath, gave them a little bit of history about the city and about the house itself, and told them how wonderful I thought it was that they were there and here, and that they are certainly welcome to come back anytime. So it was a really nice dinner event
What you described is exactly how that was all supposed to work. Money generated for the bed tax, and they were getting something back with things that were going. So that's what should happen. Mm-hmm. Anybody else have any questions, comments, anything for the David Shai House discussion?
No, I remember now.
You don't remember now?
I tried to say something.
Yes.
10 minutes ago, couldn't get in.
That's why I quit before, because then certain people talk too much, And I was president for 10 years, and they just ran it in the hole as far as I was concerned. We could open up and have an open discussion and do it, I'll back it, but otherwise, I can't do it.
Okay.
I remember. What I'm hearing is absolutely nothing but what we haven't tried to do before. We got some personality problems, we had some changing of the guard, but everybody was headed to the same direction of David Shai having participation, having citizens involved. We as a city didn't want to run this program, and I don't think we still do. I think one per quarter would be good, but I don't see the city having any different ideas than what we had before.
Well, hopefully it'll be more than just the city. It'll be everyone.
Well, it's got to be.
Together.
It's got to be. Because we don't want to run David Shai House.
No.
Yeah.
No, well, I think it's important to understand that the city cannot run the house. I mean, it simply cannot. The city has in place a lease with a 501c3 entity, the Heath Community Arts Council. It is its own entity, and is free to utilize the house in accordance with the lease.
So what, 2033?
Yeah. So the city cannot run the Davis Shai House. We cannot say to the Arts Council, you must host or you must not host these kind of events, or you can only charge that when you rent it, or whatever. It's its own entity, and as such is free to operate as it sees fit. Dick, if I can maybe point out what I feel is a very big and very important difference between how the arrangement was previously and how the arrangement would be moving forward as we've discussed, is that previously the city's financial support for the Arts Council had been very, very largely simply cutting a check to the Arts Council, that being the bed tax money.
I'm not sure that
And
this group in here at the time wanted anything other than just give them money and be gone.
I'm just, again, you had made a comment that you didn't see maybe that there was big differences. I'm just trying to highlight what I think is one. Moving forward, rather than the city simply cutting that bed tax check, and the Arts Council being able to use that money for whatever events they want to, or whatever staffing needs they saw, or basically for anything that they wanted to. The city will be able to directly target this money specific to events. That it also has a say in the type of events that they are, and the scope that they are, and the cost of them, so that we have not only a greater accountability of how the city's money for the Arts Council is being utilized, but also a more direct say in how it's being applied, and the type of events that take place with the use of it. So that's just, like I said, just in my mind, one difference.
Okay, this is Wayne for, sorry, we got a little off track there. I have the floor.
Mayor, just to fill in the blanks of what you kind of could put your finger on, the cultural events per year that significantly impact the community and demonstrate the city of Heath's interest in culture. That's the key. My question on that then for you is, who is going to determine the definition of the cultural events? And you know, we've had this discussion before.
I think that the agreement being written as broadly and non-specifically as it was allows for both parties in the agreement to help to define that.
Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate here for just a minute. If I understand you, well, first, I'm not sure I do understand. The first part of what you said sounded like the city was going to pay when the receipts came in.
Well,
right?
I think when you rent a tent, you know how much the cost of that tent is going to be before you actually receive it. So we could call Main Events tomorrow and say we need a 60 by 30 tent. How much would that be if we rented it? And they would be able to give us a price. Now, obviously, they're going to want to get paid when it's actually rented. But for the planning purposes of the event, we would know how much that cost would
So
be.
the city would know in advance what they were going to fund. Is that right? We're going to have something in writing from the Arts Council saying this is what we're going to do.
Well, we're working with the Arts Council specifically to identify the elements of the event, the costs of them, the scope of them. So, yes, very, very specifically, we'll know what the budgeted costs would be.
What if they go over the amount? Then what happens?
What I think is going to happen there is that Charlie Kyle, who reports for me, recreation director, is going to be involved in all the meetings leading up to the event. And then I will participate in some of the meetings when it comes to the budget part. And then I will listen to what they're thinking about doing and some of the costs. And then I will go to the mayor and say, we're looking at a $10,000 budget, whatever it is, and get prior approval to him of what we're doing. Then I will go back to the Arts Council and say, we have a budget of X amount of dollars, and probably we would have to have prior approval of what they're going to get, and we would know the cost. But they wouldn't be allowed. I mean, basically, if they go over the budget of what we specify, I would say they're going to be responsible for it if I have not approved it that way. So, but I think we'll know that cost ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing, too, Joan, that I think is important to remember, whenever you're organizing an event for the first time, I'll draw a comparison maybe to the Armed Forces Day Parade. last year's Armed Forces Day Parade was put on, those things that needed to be paid for the most part, were paid for by money that was raised by the Friendship Club for the event. Now, having done the event one time, this year's Armed Forces Day Parade, Jan was able to come to Bob and I and to council and say, you know, in order for us to do an effective job with the Armed Forces Parade this year, we'd like to have an appropriation, and I can't remember exactly how much it was. If it was $7,500 or something like that. Okay, so you know, being able to build off of that knowledge and experience of having planned last year's parade, there was an ability to get a better understanding of what the event cost would be moving forward.
And you got money back.
Yes, and again, it would be the same concept that, as I mentioned before, as we move forward through these different events year after year, we'll be able to evaluate what's working, what's not working, what's effective, what we should spend money on, maybe what we shouldn't, and so that we can tweak and try to improve each year.
Okay, my next question is, will the city get any part, if profit is made, will they get any part of that?
No.
No.
It's not our intention that we would. No, the city will be co-sponsoring the events, helping to pay for the items, helping in the advertising, you know, of the events as well.
The only other thing that comes to my mind, it seems to me, in looking at the management contract, the ones that are complying with it are the city. Unless you have somewhere gotten something, have you gotten an annual budget from the Arts Council? That's in the management contract.
Yes.
Have you gotten a current inventory? That's in the management contract. All I'm hearing is what the city is going to do according to the management contract. It's a
One thing I would say about that is that we haven't been complying with the management contract either. We haven't been co-hosting events with them, right? So I think that's the whole idea, is for us all to come into compliance with what's supposed to be happening.
There haven't been any.
I think
That's what I'm saying, they're supposed to be. We were supposed to be.
Here again, it's one-sided.
And there have been events. I mean, I just told you there was a car show Saturday.
But that's hardly significantly impact on the community.
Well,
again, it's a definition that was broadly
Exactly.
written broadly for a purpose.
And you and I have had that discussion.
That you are not going to be the sole determiner of what a significant event is, and I am not going to be a sole determiner of what a significant event is, and Dick is not going to be. It's unless you want to be.
Well, I just want to play devil's advocate, those things, because those things aren't happening.
okay, anything else with parks? Yes.
Back to the budget idea. All right, so once you come up with a budget and say you need 10,000, 15, 20, whatever it is to do this Oktoberfest, all right, we'll have to have an ordinance to appropriate that
Yes.
amount of money.
Yes.
For
this year,
because we have
for
nothing
the
in it.
yeah for the third quarter event, which would be Oktoberfest,
October.
and the fourth quarter event,
The fourth
which
quarter event.
we've not nailed down yet, but yeah.
we do, okay, all right. And we're thinking that you have a pretty good budget, and so if it's 10, it's 10 to them. They spend it on buying the tents, buying the da-da-da-da-da, and everything. And they bring in the beer and the food, and they sell it, and they make X number of profit. And they can use that money then to operate the facility the rest of the time when there's not.
I have expressed to them the idea that I think they should, by they I mean the Arts Council, that I think the Arts Council should, to the fullest extent that they can, take advantage of the events that the city is co-sponsoring in order to raise funds. And that those funds that they raise will allow them and to hopefully, if they choose, as an organization, if they choose, to do other events. You know, like let's use the car show as an example. You know, maybe car show is what we'd want to do in the second quarter of next year. Maybe it's something different. Maybe it's a barbecue and bluesgrass festival. You know, maybe it's whatever, right? Whatever. But if the city doesn't choose to co-sponsor a car show, but the Arts Council thinks that car show is a pretty neat thing, and we've had some success with it, and it doesn't, I guess, lose money for them. One would think that let's and if they want to do that, have at it. Have at it. So does that help answer? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
If I can kind of tell you what our feelings are, or our philosophy on this thing and moving forward, we're talking to a guy writing a business plan. Now that sounds a little bit maybe more in detail than what we may need, but he's going to volunteer some time to kind of say, here's the guidelines that you guys should be running on to do your end of the lease, if you will, satisfactory, which I believe that we have, but and to go forward to not, I don't want to say to make a profit, because what we've talked about as a board is to say, look, we cannot now have 5 people or 25 people for, I don't want to use an example and hurt anyone's feelings, of some kind of an event that we lose money on, that we lost $400 by doing that. So now we're looking at these 4 events that are co-sponsored by the city, and us creating those as fundraisers, and more people being, more participants, will create us, hopefully, enough income to run on a skeleton of what we used to be. I mean, when the place started, it was running on a whole lot of people, that were paid. We're not doing that now. We're down to Denise and 3 other people right now. So that's about what we can run on. And the city's doing is really stepping up and helping more with maintenance and some of the other things that we needed, which is wonderful. So that's kind of 4 focused events. And then these ones that are fill-ins that are, quite frankly, a profit or don't lose money, I guess. Yeah. Maybe if they break even and the public likes it, we're going to do that. We're going to keep doing weddings. If they're not a wedding for 4, but a wedding for 100 or 150, absolutely. So that's kind of the intent there.
Anything else? Okay, we do need to go back for a minute, because I realized after we moved into Parks, Rec, and David Shea, we didn't really go and authorize this legislation for the Star Spangled Celebration. So we need to talk about this. If there's any further discussion on that, whether we should take this $1,000 and transfer it to the, are you okay with it, Brian? Dick, are you okay? Okay. All right.
Thanks for catching that.
I know, it's like I'm looking, Anything else, Bob?
Nope.
Okay, we will adjourn Parks, Rec, and David Shea at 6:45.
I knew I had a copy of it. Got him in work?
5-minute stretch before we finance?
Yes, please.
5-minute stretch. 5-minute stretch. Oh, oops, is that all you? So,
I do not. Thank you.
Underneath there?
3 no.
I got a little neighbor. She's doing it in the neighborhood. She's got
That was legislation. We talked about
The guy that was
It's a liability, a possible liability.
3 racks in front of him. Yeah, there's 3 seats. He had his car, the side of the side, spot on the side, all 4 chips. Okay. 4 chips down. They're all pink and purple. I mean, and he starts, because coloring up. Well, when the guy got done, I looked down at my chips, and I had
So what's you got?
What did you do?
Anything in particular?
Age. No, the doctor said it's just
And I'm like, I looked down at him,
arthritis with
I
us.
came here to play, but.
And it gives me a shot once every 3 months. Right now, I'm sad.
Each guy was lost if they would sell it quick.
But I use alternate Roman on here.
Colorado.
If it's,
What's it
if
called?
it's a
This
swelling,
guy's Colorado.
No, no, it's not swelling.
then I would say, if it's
Airing
a
it out.
swelling issue, then
He's
you
got
know,
an
it's
area,
but
but
if
it's
it's
got
not
the
a
film
swelling
from
problem,
Okay,
then you
well,
would do the field.
okay, that makes
and
sense, okay.
Above,
But
like
I
the
just
pass line,
wonder
or
how
the
much
pa-
longer,
that's coming from somebody who used to get bumps and bruises all the time.
Well, me too, I was on a volleyball all the time in college and high school, and on the floor a lot.
Yeah.
The guy
Yeah.
next
But
to the,
I just don't think I'm gonna have to go over to the Columbus joint implant where I have my knees done.
Yeah, yeah.
And see what they say.
I've said it was no Colorado. I didn't even put it down. He grabs it next and he goes, where am I supposed to throw? He couldn't throw. It's like, it's like he had, the guy just throw
I have to do
You
it, I
gotta
have
get
to
you
do
gotta
it.
get physical therapy.
right in your chest, and they come back this way.
And it hurts and you do it
back this way.
around. We got it.
Yeah, or else
Yeah.
you lose the range of motion.
Yeah.
The chips are in
Right.
here, and then you put it here, and
Thanks,
it's
Sarah.
sick.
Same to you.
Take care. And
I will.
So I'm sitting there thinking,
Pardon?
they're now starting to
Well,
slowly
I
use
just,
the guy's chips.
I don't know how I had time to raise kids
It's a
and
nice
push
thing
them
to do.
around and
It's still good.
I had 85 on the
Okay, and hit someone over like that, one falls over here, one falls over here.
You too.
That's what it was.
I see you, Becky.
All
right. Take care.
And
Give
so I'm thinking, I'm sitting here
hug
waiting
for me.
for
Okay.
It
Okay.
makes
All
it
right.
sick. So
Thanks, guys.
I'm sorry. Makes it sick.
You know me.
And
Before or
through
because
next one was
finance here in just a minute.
God, it's fine. Give me $10. Oh yeah, 6.
Let's do the finance.
Oh yeah,
Stick around.
he didn't make it hard.
Let's do the finance committee.
So he's coming at you.
So,
Hot wheels.
I put
yeah, I thought I would have it for that. We're gonna do the same thing
So I
like
put
we
it,
did.
when
There's
it's
something
I
like
covered it.
how
We did it.
we go to the park and then they get to come back.
Let me cover this first.
Attorney writes.
Is that okay?
I just saw it.
I don't have the contract.
Trying to look at.
Either $2 or $3 seed and $1 when we come out. So, and then every so often I do that. When the one guy was, back then,
I need to go. Grades 7, 11, and 12. What's that?
well, if they roll, it's like the sheet. If it was to be the 12, it would be 13. But they would subtract $4 for the other sport, so you get 26.
If I'd have been
And so I done it the time before another guy, and the guy was sick of it, and so I didn't do it. I figured we had 6, and one line time. I looked at the guy that I would have won money. Of course, I don't have any money in the past since I lose anything. I win. You gotta get that. Throws another 86. Throws another. Throws around. And the guy just looks at me, you're losing money, aren't you? So mad. And then finally, when he did hit another, I'm taking pictures.
You have no idea. It's right
So finally, the guy's the chips. And then I did now you're worried.
He and I work a lot.
He said something like,
I already know.
we had more than $540. It's all staggered of $500.
No, wasn't
And
If I have a push bar out of
and then the girl said it's line.
Well, you need to go over to
I'm trying to be
And I'm like, okay. I mean, it just.
Leanne or Gail, because they're always so quiet and they can write down
Yeah, I
on
think
the
it came
ground.
from that
I
back.
gave one to Jeff.
Yeah.
Putting up they're neat.
All right, guys, let's,
Oh, at Lowe's. You just buy a roll of that tape and every year when they have a yard sale, I hate to be a stinker, but I am.
You can sit in on this if you want. I'm just getting out.
Stand out here to focus.
You have to sit down and take next to this. We're gonna give it a test.
She got a hard coming out, and I get it.
all right, does everybody have an agenda that wants an agenda at this point? All right? Okay, 6:52, we'll call Finance Committee meeting to order.
Okay.
Somebody jump in?
Let's get through these
We had 4, actually.
Five.
At 5 now.
First one is appropriate $535,000. No, This is the loan car. This is the ordinance of purchase.
435, but 100,000 for will come out of the next one. So remember they had an argument on this, how
Yes.
they wrote that up?
Yeah.
On our, I said 535 because that's the total amount.
But actually, this legislative request is for 435, so we've split up the 535 into 435 and 100.
Yes, for 2 separate requests.
Okay, so let's make the first one's actually 435, 678.
That's not what the ordinance writes, though.
Right.
The ordinance says 535.
It's a legislative request now. Where's the discrepancy?
Okay. Let me try to cut through this just a little bit. Ordinance 49 is an ordinance that would authorize me to waive the competitive bidding and sign a purchase contract on the truck. The cost of the truck we estimate to be $535,678. That's what Ordinance 49 would do. Ordinance 50 is an ordinance that would take $100,000 out of the Fire Levy 1 fund balance that we would apply directly toward that 535 cost. In 2 weeks, you're going to have before you an ordinance that would authorize me to sign a finance agreement that will be extremely similar to the one that we entered into with Park National Bank when we got the automatic meter readers. It'll be a lease, program through Park National Bank. PNB has to prepare that ordinance. It is not yet done. So
That's why you don't have ordinance 55 in your hand.
that's correct.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to have for first reading tonight the 49 and 50 ordinances. Next week, in 2 weeks, when we have the what I'm assuming will be Ordinance 55, 2015. We'll have the second reading on 49 and 50. I would ask you to approve those. On 55, we're going to ask, waive second reading, and I would ask you to vote in the affirmative to allow me to sign that finance agreement with PNB. So all 3 ordinances related to the truck, the rescue truck, will be voted on July 6th. Does that make sense?
So we're going to strike 55 for tonight.
Correct.
And since there's an extra Monday in between there, that's not a problem.
So should this be 535?
It'll be 3 weeks.
Is it?
I mean, there's 5 Mondays in June.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Is that
July
possible?
6th. No.
Okay.
No, I mean that's July 6th. That'll be the earliest we can do it. That's fine. No, actually, it just gives us more time, so that's good.
Changed it.
Okay.
That's a good thing.
To me, it should still be 535 because the agreement says 535.
I agree.
Whose writing is this up here? It's 435.
Thank you.
Okay. So can we strike through that and put 535 and initial that down here then? Since this needs to match this?
David, do you concur with what we're saying?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
Draw a line through
I'm
this?
wondering, go ahead, yes, let's do that. And I'm wondering if that became that way, and she was trying to explain, or Huggy was trying to explain to her that this is the amount we do.
Yeah. Now, the good news is
Ryan, we're back to 535 on here.
That was why I questioned it in the first place. 'Cause
Yeah.
I said they did well over this.
The good news is that if we're applying all of the money up front, as we will with the 100,000 from here and the 435 from PNB, they will actually reduce the cost of the truck by about $22,000. So we actually won't even be paying the 535. But that's the way that the purchase agreement's drafted and all that, so it will actually be cheaper than that.
And the sooner that we get this on the road, the quicker that thing will be on.
Well, that's the need for the emergency. I mean, we all know, we've discussed ad nauseum now, I think for years, the deteriorating condition of the rescue truck, the, every other month Huggy's talking about it. So yeah, I mean, that's the need for us to declare the emergency, get this thing moving. Because it's going to take 9 to 10 months to build a truck as it is, so.
And the fact it's, you say it's competitive, waiving the competitive bidding, Chief has actually been talking to people all along.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Yeah.
That's an excellent point. Can you best explain, David, what's that acronym? The STS, State of Ohio Cooperative Purchase STS plan?
Yeah, the state has a whole list of things that it negotiates for the purchase of equipment products for municipalities. And this particular truck, with Pierce, is on that list. So because of that, we don't have to have competitive bidding as a matter of law. And as the mayor pointed out to us last week, to draw up the specs for this thing, you really have to make it a Pierce truck anyway. So, because they've worked, the chief has been working with them all along to get the specs that he wants on this particular truck. There are a lot of options, and these are the options that he wants. But to draft that would be tricky, and then chances of our getting a better deal than the state was able to get with all its spending power are slim to none.
And when it
And
comes time
you're
for
right,
competitive bidding, just if you make mention of that so that it's on record that we're not just saying, okay,
Yeah.
we like you, we're going to go for
That's a
you
good
anyway.
point. That's a good point.
Yeah, I spelled some of that out in the ordinance, but I put some of that in the ordinance so we have something on the record to say that.
Jeff correctly made mention that there was a committee of both paid and volunteer fire staff that have worked on this for months and looked at various options from various truck making companies, if that's the right word. And for the price and what it gives us, this is the option that they want to go with.
And I'm not questioning that, I just thought we needed to mention that, so down the road someone can't say, well, you guys.
I'm getting confused out here, and that's
Yes.
so tonight when we read it for the first time, are we holding it to a second reading?
Correct.
Okay.
We tried to get the PNB.
We want to make sure that
obviously,
it's
since
in-
we had it on the agenda,
Right.
we tried to get that PNB ordinance on tonight as
Okay.
well, and we were gonna, go with all three of them tonight. But we just weren't able to make it happen. So if we don't have the PNB one to vote on tonight, there's no sense in voting on the other two.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure.
A couple questions. By going through the Attorney General too, they prevent, going through this state bidding process, the Attorney General monitors that and makes sure we don't get gaps, just like they did on the salt purchases. And do we get a refund that the state Attorney General sued those salt suppliers for selling last year, selling salt, at an escalated price?
You're asking us that question? I have no idea.
We'll have to wait to see
We,
what that turns out.
we would have to see, I guess, the price that we paid for our salt.
I would say if the state is suing them, and then they get a settlement, then they will know how much everybody has purchased from them, and we should get a check back.
Wait, I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying correctly. Are you saying that
It was
the state?
It was quite a discussion on the TV. I don't know what channel, but they had named 2 or 3 cities that got money back from it. And the AG is going to look at the total scope of it.
And some of that salt comes from different areas, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's what he
that.
said.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay.
But I think they did say that there was 3 salt companies that had conspired to fix the price.
And that's up to the state to fight that battle, and then we'll.
David, have you heard anything about this at all?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, they
said that they
were
were
millions
going
of
to,
dollars
yeah.
that the state got back.
Well, we got it back already.
That's where I understood
process has
it.
been-
I don't think they got a fine.
They find and then you get.
Yeah, I think they got a fine. I don't think they got the money back. The difference. I think they fined them so much for doing it.
Who gets that money then? That fine?
No.
The state.
Well, not the
that's
city.
Well, they take all our other money.
They're gonna find somebody to give you money.
I don't know how we got all that. It's okay.
State bids.
Let's get back to
Yeah,
the
get
fire
back
truck.
and get through this so I can get to.
You've lost control.
Kind of, sort of. All right, Brian, any other comments? This is coming out of your committee.
None.
We okay on that? How about the committee? We good on the 535 for this particular? Sure. Okay. All right, sign that. Second item is going to be the $100,000 that we talked about, which is pulled it out of the fire levy 1, 2, putting it in within fire levy 1, 2 fire levy. Is that what is that? Is that 1 or 2?
Fire levy 1 towards the vehicles purchased of
So it's a specific line item for vehicles purchased,
within the fire levy.
which is this.
Yes. So you should hand that stuff to us before they start.
Yeah.
Rule number 1.
Don't bring your cell phone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Any other comments? Brian, anything else for you on this $100,000?
No.
Committees? Thumbs up? This is good. Number 3. Appropriate $15,000 from general fund to police service for MOPAR. Independent service contract for use for additional manpower services during the MOPAR Nationals.
I do have a question about that, because I just had a discussion on this. I thought, is this less than we would have been spending had we not encouraged them to be moved out? Because I thought we were trying to save money for the extra police staff by having them move.
No. We're all hands on deck that whole weekend.
Okay.
Okay. Here's what this is. Chief Mason spoke with Newark PD, Sheriff's Office, some other area agencies. Our goal is to hire 20 special duty police officers with their vehicles from their jurisdictions to be in addition to our all hands on deck staff. You may have seen the article that was in the Advocate yesterday on this. I understand the constraints to newspapers and the reporters of stories. I understand the constraints of space. So I don't necessarily get too fired up when the whole story is not told. But the whole story is, and I think I was quoted accurately as saying, that the city will, with a smile on our face and open arms, welcome the spectators and the cruisers to utilize the designated route, which would be from, right up here, the northernmost point, down into, I think, the state park at Buckeye Lake. What I said immediately afterward, which she did not quote, is that the city will also, with all means that it can, ensure that no such activity is taking place outside of the designated cruise route. That's where these 20 additional police officers will be able to, I think, primarily help us. We want everybody organized. And this is not a City of Heath thing. This is a Central Licking County effort to provide the folks from out of town have a good time. Because many and more of them are not cruising because they don't want some local yokel sliding his car out of his lane doing a burnout and bumping into their $100,000 vehicle that they've got. So Hebron is involved, Buckeye Lake is involved, the Convention and Visitors Bureau is involved. Chief Mason last week confirmed that the Highway Patrol is going to have, I think, maybe 5 or so of their staff helping to patrol what is the actual route. So this is not a Heath thing. This is a regional thing for this event. So that's what that money will go. That's what that $15,000 will go to, is to pay for the special duty and the cars and for the law enforcement for that. Yes.
Is it both nights, or does this $15,000 cover Friday and Saturday, or just extra?
I believe it does. We are, as we consistently do, we're not even mentioning Friday. We are only talking Saturday publicly. We know that we do have that environment on Fridays as well. My understanding is that it covers both days, but that's, we don't like it when people mention Friday, as a cruise option.
Let Doug ask a question, I got another question.
Well, I just want to make the comment that she contacted me too.
Yes.
And I said the same thing that you did, and she did not go to it. I said that I said our biggest problem is not with the people who come here to enjoy themselves from everywhere in this country. It's the people here in Licking County that need to get the message that we have a specified route and we want, and I tried to stress to her, put it in the story. She didn't. So.
Okay, now I'll throw my 2 cents worth in.
Go ahead.
I think the route should still be through the city like it always has been. Leave both lanes open. Hire the extra 20 cops, supposed to keep all the Heath cops there too. You write a ticket for anyone that does a burnout, okay? Automatic. I mean, you'd have a cop every whip stitch anyway. The minute they do a burnout, you write a ticket. So that would stop the burnouts, okay? It also would stop the yahoos from coming in there and stuff and trying to do them, okay? And then the cars, there would be fewer cars because of that. They would go a little faster or cruise through, and it wouldn't cause a problem at all. Okay, then all the people could still line up outside the motels and the hotels and the different places and stuff, and it would all be centralized location there and everything. And if they don't like the fact that they can't do the burnouts, because essentially you're going to say, well, okay, you can't be cruising in this area, but go out south of here. Now are we going to let them do burnouts out down through here? Now it's a 50-mile-an-hour road out through part of that. Are they going to stop in the middle of a 50-mile-an-hour road and do a burnout, and someone come up behind them at 50 miles an hour, don't realize they're stopped or haven't taken off? And then I can't see everyone that comes into town to stay in all the hotels. Now to go see the cars, they're going to have to leave, drive their car out here somewhere and try to find a place to park to watch them. Whereas before they just come out of their hotel room and set their chair up and watch them. So I think all the people at Southgate, all the people that want to come in there and stuff, I just think that if you really want to keep the burnouts and the dangerousness away, just ticket anyone that does a burnout. And if people don't like the fact they come watch cars and they're not doing any burnouts, well, I'm sorry, that's it. But the people are still going to stay in the motels to come here because they're going out to the Mopar event during the day anyway. So the hotels are still going to be full. All we're going to cut down on is the yahoos that want to come in and cause trouble. So if you're going to spend the money, the $15,000, I'd spend it right in there and just ticket everybody that does a burnout. I mean, just flat out say there are no burnouts. You do a burnout in this section, you're going to get a ticket. I don't care who you are.
I agree with
That's
what
what
Tim's saying, because I thought, when I've tried to think about that and I think about safety, I'd rather people be standing back in Southgate somewhere than trying to stand along this road with cars are coming down through there, like he said, going faster. And I've had several people approach me about the Mopar saying, why is Heath wanting to stop all the fun things that they have to come to people?
Let me talk a little bit about that, because I just simply do not understand where that concept comes from. This new cruise route is going to be, what, 4 times as long? It's going to be more open, which these Mopar cars need. Okay, these are old cars, right? To cool their engines, they need to be able to run a little bit. A lot of the people that bring their cars from all over the country are not cruising. They're parking over here in Tri-County all night because they know that it is absolute gridlock up in there and that their engines will overheat if they crawl bumper to bumper for a mile. This will open up the route. It'll allow them to be able to get a little bit of run in those engines. Various locations along this route, all the way down to Buckeye Lake, are going to have things like Tri-County has, where they're going to have maybe a band or some food or some other kind of entertainment or whatever. It's modeled somewhat similarly to the Woodward Cruise, which takes place up in the Detroit, Michigan area, which is like a 13-mile long cruise route, if I recall. I simply, unless you are the individual that wants to see, excessive burnouts, unless you are the individual that wants to break the open container laws that we have, unless you're the individual that wants to call our law enforcement officers a pig as the best term that they hear that night, unless you're that type of individual, I cannot begin to fathom how this new route, in any way, shape, or form, ruins the event. Here's where the event is. If it's your thing, have at it. Go to it. Go see these fantastic looking cars and enjoy them, cruising up and down the way. We're not going to tolerate anything north of the route. And that's what the augmented police presence will help us try to ensure takes place. We're also in the process of acquiring from the various property owners north of the route permission to remove people who are loitering or parking in their parking lot after business hours if they don't want them there. And Southgate last year was very receptive to that idea. Southgate was. They said, hey, do what you need to do. The folks that sit, they don't stand back along Southgate. They're 10 inches from the white line in Southgate. Their 10-year-old kids are running out in the middle of the road throwing, water down on the road. I can't. It's that Southgate area scares me to death how close they are to the road. So I made the mistake of reading some people's Facebook comments and about, they're ruining the event, they don't want to have it. That's the exact opposite. I don't know how I can put it any more plainly. We're welcoming you to enjoy this elongated, opened up cruise route that's going to have various spots of entertainment and fun. Please enjoy the event along that cruise route. That's all we're saying.
Well, I don't go to Mopar, so I don't really have I don't have a dog in the race, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be the person calling pigs or having an open container, but if I were going to go, I guess it would be easier for me to go park at Southgate and walk. I'm trying to envision how I would get to all these various happening places along the way. How do I get to Tri-County and then go down and there's a band? How do I maneuver that? I don't know. But I'm not coming anyway, so like I said, I don't have
I have navigated through there, and I can tell you that it's extremely difficult to navigate around the area that it is to try to get from one point to another as it is right now. That dynamic probably won't get any worse anyway.
Okay, so we can keep this thing moving. We have topics here.
Anything else? Brian, you okay with this?
Yes.
Come on, your committee.
That's fine.
Committee?
Regardless of where the route is, we need police presence.
All right. More appropriate $1,000 within general fund, parks for Star Spangled Celebration. Deb, any other comments?
Nope, that's it.
You wanna waive that tonight?
I want to waive that.
Yeah, we wanna waive that tonight.
Okay. Fifth and final one is the one, coming up. Streets tonight request appropriation within the municipal license tax fund for street paving to fund a change order for 2015 paving. The original ordinance was ordinance 42, 2015. Paving to be completed by late June 15, 2015.
That's not on.
You don't have an ordinance or anything yet.
We don't have the ordinance ready, I'm just getting it through the committee here so we can get it on the next.
Yeah, be on the next one.
Doug, any other comments on this? Committee? Okay. Anything else, other items, meter investment management, Jay?
Yes. They came in. They talked to you guys a couple months ago. I had never brought back up, talked about it. I thought tonight we wouldn't be here till 7:20 talking about it. I would like to. I have paperwork. I would like to enter into an agreement with them, or the mayor would. I think it's the route that I would like to take. I think the investment side has pushed us that way, and I was just going to bring it up because in the future I'll be bringing legislation that talks about in the contract that X amount of money per basis points that they would have. So it's just something that
10 grand?
yeah, 10 grand.
10 grand manage 10 million, essentially, right?
Yes, up to 25 million.
Good. Okay.
Yeah,
So the 10 grand will cover us. Plenty of growth.
right. Plenty of growth.
Okay. Yeah, those guys were sharp.
Then I'll have that stuff prepared on the 6th.
Anything else for finance?
Yeah, real quick, ordinance 54, we need to go over this. I don't even know that we have a legislative request. I don't know if it's absolutely mandatory that we have one.
No, it isn't.
Okay. Ordinance 54. The land directly north of where our recent land acquisition for the new water tank on the east side of town is going to be located. That land is owned by Windstream, Ohio. I will get all of you a copy of this purchase agreement. If I can get over there and make a bunch of copies of it here before the meeting starts. They contacted us. We originally contacted them, asked them to try to buy the land. They said they didn't want to sell it. Then we purchased the land that we did. They contacted us and said, well, how much would you give us for the land? We offered 8. They accepted. There are various positive aspects to us having this land directly to the north, including the potential, if we ever need to in the distant future, of having an additional tank. We could put it on that ground. John Geller's on vacation. He left Friday. He's gone all this week. He would like to see this thing be purchased. So the ordinance before you would authorize me to sign that real estate purchase agreement for $8,000 for that land. It's about a quarter acre in size. Yes, I'm requesting that it be waived and that you vote in the affirmative on it this evening.
This has a tower and a building on it, I think the ordinance says. Is that correct?
It does. The condition of both have been inspected by an engineering firm, and I believe they both could be utilized. The possibilities for that utilization include our SCADA system and our automatic meter reading system. There's other options that we could pursue as well, but our interests are to acquire the land if possible. So first step of that is me signing that agreement saying that we want to do it.
So John will put a legislative request together when he gets back, just for housekeeping.
Is that required?
It's already in there. Yeah, I don't need it.
Yep. Since the ordinance is already in there, there's no legislative request. The legislation has been drafted.
I understand, we're just gonna do it.
Okay, I got 56 does not need waived.
That's what
you said.
56.
I understand, Jeff, I did. Mr. Street, 54 and 56. Trying to get my
That's
paperwork
the
straight
amount.
here, that's all. All right, anything else?
Hold on one second.
Wait, got a
54 and 56 do need waived. They're both
54 and 56.
yes. One's to allow me to sign that purchase agreement, and the other is the 8,000 to purchase it with. So 54 and 56, we do ask that it be waived.
Okay.
I'm going to go try to make copies of those right away.
Let me do the
All right, we are adjourned at 7:22.
who's doing invocation? Mario?
Yeah.
What? Invocation.
Yeah.
All right, jumping down here to the ordinances. So 49, 50, and 51 will hold. 52 will waive. Ms. Cole, you do that? Okay. 53 will hold. 54 will waive, and 56 will waive. And Mr. Morrow, will you do both of those?
Yes.
Okay. And then number 55 has actually been pulled from the agenda. We don't have it. And that's pretty much it.
Good.
I do cartwheels fast. You watch how fast I can do this.
That's not bad. You try not to do the last one, are you?
Yeah.
45 seconds. Something you might want to keep in mind when the Mopar comes. We never allowed semis up that road to the Shai house. And when Jan was there, we always had the parks guys block it off because they go up there and do spin outs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that you'll be replacing asphalt if you don't. And I don't think it's Mopar, I think it's local boys.
That's what I told the newspaper lady. I said, it's not the people from out of state or out of, it's the local yokels who want us to come out here in their 78 Ford pickup truck and spin tires on them.
But I think that
Like you would do on Friday then.
Friday
Leave it up on
and
weekend.
Saturday, you want to have that blocked off out there.
I don't know if they have any events.
Well, you'll have to find out where that's just to save the parking lot. The shade out. Oh, they go back up in here, and I came to work to mow one day, and they had just peeled asphalt and almost went over our buttons to our shed right there. Yeah. Why are they back there? I think it's local.
Yeah, see, out of towners wouldn't know how to find it.
No. And all you gotta do is put up a couple barricades. That stops them.
One cannon.
Just trying to save you money.
And then leave the money. The rest of them will understand.
Performant jail.
Mark, we have a cannon, right?
Wall tall and carry a big stick.
That's it. That's it.
No, they received it.
There you go.
She'll tell you right, and you'll go right through it.
No,
Because she directs you. She gets behind you. It's pretty neat. Yeah, he's blind. And forever, up until 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, they did that blind, and they've done that for years.
Oh.
But that car stands straight up, and they go.
Because of the additional labor to do that, and wait to come back.
Remember a couple of years ago, Heather and I were at Shai's, and outside, we were sitting out back, and this guy came by and said, "You in the Mopar?" Of course,
yeah,
but we didn't know who this guy was. Well, he drove, at the time he was leaving the numbers, the points. His car is the one that stands straight up, and then they go down the track, and you get judged on how far you go and how fast. And he was leading the points, so he showed his video and stuff. That's pretty impressive. Him and his wife.